Hello Igerim. In this video feedback, I'm looking at your summary from last week. Okay, so the first sentence, as we know, should include the name of the title of the video, the name of the speaker, and the main argument, the main idea. So you have included, or you've tried to include the main idea. You use the good reporting verb here, claims that, argues that, any of those will work. Remember, we always say that it should be argumentative, the first sentence. That's good. You include the name of the speaker. You need to add the title of the video. Okay. Now let's see what the main idea is. Claims that the variety of people's thinking is not the right way because of implicit bias. Okay. The variety of people's thinking is not the right way. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Maybe you want to rephrase that a little bit so that it's more precise, I suppose. Maybe we're all influenced by implicit biases. And then, actually, for quite some time in the video, he was talking about how we can fix those biases. So probably you want to add that to the main idea. So you can say that we're all prone to implicit biases, but there are things that we can do to address the issue, or something like that. So you ought to include, I think, both those biases and also what we need to do. And here just rephrase this: people's thinking is not the right way, because it really sounds a little bit too vague. Okay. Therefore, he reports evidence from the science community. When people evaluate something, they're not deliberately following hidden bias. Okay. Therefore, he reports evidence from the science community. When people evaluate something, I kind of got lost in this sentence, to be honest. When people evaluate something, they are not deliberately following hidden bias. Yeah, this is a little bit unclear to me. What exactly is this sentence saying? I know that he is citing evidence from the science community. You're right about that. He keeps referring to that, the science of implicit biases. So it's good to include that. When people evaluate something, not deliberately following hidden bias. Oh, okay. So probably what you're trying to say is that they're just doing it unconsciously, right? According to evidence from the science community, when people, you probably need a comma here. That would make things a little bit more clear. When we evaluate something, okay, I see. When we evaluate something or somebody, we're following unconscious biases or implicit biases. I think that will be more clear, instead of saying we are not deliberately following. Okay, so you probably want to say we're following unconscious biases instead of we're not following, or not deliberately following. So you can use the word unconscious or implicit. It's okay if you repeat that. It's a key term. So in your summary, you can repeat the key terms several times. That's not a problem. Basing his claim on evidence, the author states, the speaker states that when we evaluate something or somebody, we're following unconscious biases. I think that would be more clear if you phrased it that way. To support it, support what? His claim, right? So to support his claim, the referent is not very clear here. To support it would be what he is claiming. To support it, he cites three aspects of implicit bias. Okay, that's clear. He does do that. First, and then he will go on and enumerate. Okay, now the paragraph is starting to take shape. That's very good. First, bias can operate at the subconscious level, and he argues there is no access to it through self-analysis. Sure. Self-analysis sounds a little bit too specific here, but I get your point. He's saying that we're just not aware of those biases. They operate subconsciously. And there is no access to it through self-analysis. I would rephrase this a little bit. But the point is clear. Second, he reports that implicit bias runs contrary to conscious bias. Sure. He makes examples about a police officer and a school administrator. Sure. But remember, we're trying to stay away from examples in our summary, right? So we try to stay away from examples. You can just include the supporting idea, which is that they run contrary to conscious bias, and that's it. The third aspect is rapid and automatic associations. Sure, they're rapid and automatic. Okay, fine. This is clear. All this section is much clearer than the beginning. When you enumerate, start talking about the biases one after the other, then I'm understanding what's going on. The third aspect is rapid. Yeah, it is the first words and phrases that come to mind when people hear, okay, yes, okay, that's good. So there's some words which just automatically trigger associations. Fine. After that, he claims reasons. You don't really claim reasons. He gives reasons or provides reasons. So you want to look at the collocation here. He can claim something, but not reasons. He claims that. That would be a good phrase. But if you want to use reasons, you can say he provides reasons or gives reasons why focusing on bias is important. He reports that there are to help to reduce. Okay, that there are. I'm not. It's a little bit unclear here. He reports that there are to help to reduce the shame of implicit bias. These are reasons, I guess. Again, you're looking at the three reasons. He claims he provides several reasons why focusing on bias is important. He reports that there are to help to reduce the shame of implicit bias, to know implicit bias, help to predict and prevent bias, and expanded diagnosis of the problem. So you've tried to combine everything in one sentence, and that's fine, but for someone who has not heard the summary, the lecture, he would not know what this means exactly. So you want to be a little bit more clear here. You just need to say that more clearly. Probably in fewer words, and you can maybe separate it in, I don't know, 3 separate sentences, because it does give 3 reasons. So, and you could use cohesive devices as well. So just like before, you could say we, because he's addressing the general audience, so I can say we can, to help reduce bias, we need to openly talk about our own biases, right, without shame. Additionally, we need to be able to predict what types of behavior will force us to exercise our biases, something like that. And finally, so you could enumerate those 3 things again instead of just adding it all in one sentence. Okay, I think that will be better, because this sentence on its own is a little bit opaque. As a result, here you can just say in conclusion, he persuades the idea. You cannot really persuade the idea. You can persuade people, but not an idea. So again, you want to look at the collocation here. That every person should have a person that will be irrationally crazy about him or her, and the way to reduce the implicit bias is to make internal change work. Again, for somebody who has not heard the lecture, this will be hard to understand. You wanna state it more clearly. He does say some of this, but maybe you can say something like, finally, the speaker ends his talk with the idea that, and say more clearly what it is. We need to start working on our biases, something like that. It's a kind of a recommendation or a call to action. We need to get very serious about working on ourselves first, something like that. Because to make internal change work is going to sound vague to somebody who has not heard the lecture. And here, you may just even skip that. Every person should have a person that will be irrationally crazy about him or her. He does say that, but it's kind of like at the end, it's not really, I wouldn't say that's a supporting idea. It's just something that he says. Not necessarily a supporting idea, so you may be better off not even mentioning this, because it does confuse, you see. So yeah, the structure of this is very good. You tried with the first sentence, with the last sentence, then in between you basically included several supporting ideas. I would just say work on the clarity. Okay, so overall, good work. You can add some cohesive devices here and there. The name of the speaker, instead of he makes, he claims, every once in a while you can add the name of the speaker. And then you can work on sentence structure, particularly those long sentences which would be confusing to somebody who has not actually heard the lecture. Okay, I hope this feedback is useful, and good luck.